Hi guys, it's Patty with Patty's Paper Design. How are you this morning? Well, it's not morning here. I mean, it's not morning for me anymore. It's about 1:30 in the afternoon, I think. So anyhow, what we're going to do today is we are going to make paper clips, hidden paper clips. And I'm going to be using, I'm just going to make 4 paper clips. Otherwise, I would have a full 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And this cardstock that I'm using is called Nina. It's Nina cardstock. I get it off of Amazon, and it's 110 pound weight. So, I mean, it's not super thick, but it's not real flimsy either. So, you want to have something that's going to be thick enough that your paper clips don't show through. So what we're going to do is, the first thing we want to do is we want to fold it in half. Now, if this were an 8.5 by 11 piece of card stock, which it's not, it's only 6 inches wide, because I'm going to make, well, actually it's a little bit more than 6 inches wide. I'm going to make, and this would be the 11 side. So this would be the 11 side. This would be the 8.5 side. And I'm going to make 4 paper clips, 3 of which are going to be 1.5 inches wide, and 1 will be a little bit more than 1.5 inches wide. So what we want to do is we want to fold it in half on the 8.5 side. So we just want to fold it in half, making sure that our corners are, and you can score this if you want, you know, just measure midway and score it. That might be easier. And then fold it in half. Now, after I get this folded in half this way, I'm going to flip it over the other direction. So once we get it folded in half good, then we want to take our bone folder and give it a good press. And then, well, no, actually I'm not going to flip it over on the other side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my paper clips in. So I'm going to make 4 of them, so I'm going to use 4 paper clips. And I don't want to use that one. What you want to do, I'm using the small paper clips, and I'll tell you why. It's because I've made some with the larger paper clips, and I just did not like how they turned out. The smaller ones work just as well as far as holding stuff on your pages, but they don't show through the cardboard as easily. Even though this is not cardboard, it's not cardboard, it's cardstock. Even though this is, you know, fairly, I mean, it's not super, super thick, but it's not thin either. But even though it is cardstock, the 2-inch paper clips have a tendency to show through a little bit. So I don't want that. So what I want to do is I want to take and put the paper clips down, space them, you know, evenly apart. And I want to put the long edges of the paper clip on the same side. And I want to put the short edges on the opposite side. So that's important, because these paper clips are going to determine your next measurement. So now what we're going to do, now that our paper clips are on here, is we're going to take this edge here and let's see. I don't know if this is how I want it to go. Yes, I think this is how I want it to go. So you take this edge here and you bring it up to the folded edge. Just make sure it's even, and then give it a nice fold. Like this. Let's make sure the edges are together, even, fairly even. This one isn't quite even, so we'll adjust that some. That looks better. And then give this a good press down. Then we want to take this edge, and fold it up to where it's about 1/2 inch, or you can go a little bit higher. I'm going to go 1 inch this time, see how that works. I think that's about 1 inch. Well, maybe 3/4 of an inch. Okay, and so then you fold that down. Make sure everything's still evenly matching up on the edges there. Then you want to give that a nice press. Okay. Then, after you do that, you want to turn this over, and well, let's see, how am I going to do it? Like this. It works better for me this way. And you're going to fold this up to where it's going to be under there. And there's really no real measurements you have to go by. As long as your paper clip fits under there, that's the important thing. And you fold that down, make that nice and flat, and then see it's going to fit under there like that. And see, actually, I might have wanted to do this the opposite way because my roses are upside down. So you kind of got to look at your orientation. And I'm not going to worry about my roses being upside down. I might use it as a side clip. It doesn't really matter. I'm not worried about it too much. So go ahead and give that a crease with your bone folder. And then we're going to pull our paper clips off. Like that. And I'm going to go ahead and run my bone folder across there one more time. Just to make sure everything's nice and folded good. Then what we're going to do is we're going to open it up like this. Then we're going to cut it into strips. So I'll pull out my cutter here. And we want to cut these into, and if you want to make them bigger than an 1.5 inches, you can. If you want to make them smaller, you can. You just got to make sure that if you do make them smaller, that you've got enough room in there to get enough room between the edge and the paper clip to get a good glue edge. So I'm going to cut this at 1.5. And then this last one is about, let's see, what is it? It's about 1 and almost 3/4. So we'll put our cutter away. Getting tangled up in my phone cord. Don't want to do that. I hope I didn't move you. I better check our alignment here. Okay, we seem to be in alignment still, so that's the main thing. All right, so now once you've reached this point, if you want to round the corners, you can round the corners. So I am going to round the corners because that's what I want to do. And the corners you want to round are these. This corner here. This corner here. And this corner here. So then it looks like that when you're done. It'll look like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do these. I'm just going to do 2, actually, I think. Do the other 2 later. I don't want to keep you guys too terribly long. At some point, I might keep you a little longer, but right now, till I get the hang of things, I don't want to keep you too terribly long. So, how's your day been? My day's been pretty good. It's kind of overcast today here in Indianapolis. I don't know if we're supposed to have rain or not. It's not terribly hot out. I would imagine it's probably around high 70s maybe. Well, I better turn my air conditioning on here in a little bit. It's getting warmer in here than I'd like, although I'm not feeling it right now because I'm not moving around. So, now at this point, if you want to ink, this would be the point that you want to do that at. And I'm going to use red. I'm going to put this in the journal that I'm working on currently. And so I want to use red. So later on this afternoon, I've got to go outside and I got some yard work I need to tend to. I've been wanting to do that for a few days now. I was hoping to get some done over the weekend, but I got together with some friends on Saturday, and after that we have church on Saturday evenings and Sundays. So after that I went to church and I worked in my office for a little bit. I'm the parish secretary. I had some work to do, so while I was there I did that. Then I came home, and by the time I got home I was sort of wiped out. I fell asleep in my recliner for about 3 hours. Then I woke up and didn't really feel like fixing anything to eat. I'd had a good lunch, so I didn't really have to feel like I needed to have, anything terribly nutritious. So I ate popcorn, which is my downfall. I'm addicted to popcorn. And then I don't really do a whole lot on Sundays. I've always left that for and family. And I don't have much family around right now. You want to be sure and get these edges. I don't know if I told you that. There, there, and there. I think I did tell you that. I got 2 kids, obviously. Well, no, you may not know that. I don't remember what I've told you. I've got two boys, and I've got 5 grandchildren. They're all grown. 3 of them are married. No, 2 of them are married. One of them's getting married in October. So her mom and my daughter-in-law and my granddaughter are busy with all the wedding preparations. Well, they've been engaged since May, April or May, late April, early May. But, you know, there's not a whole lot of time between that and October to get your plans going. She's known this boy ever since she was in kindergarten, I think. And they've been dating for, I think, 3 years. And he's a real nice boy. So I've treated him like family, you know, for quite a long time now. And so everybody's excited about that. Okay, so now that we've got this all inked up, our next step would be if we wanted to do any stitching around the edges, we could do that. And I really do want to stitch these edges. So I'm not going to use these for the next step because I'm very aggravated with my sewing machine. It's the only sewing machine I've ever sewn on except my mom's old treadle machine. And I sewed on that. I started sewing very young because, let's see, in the mid-60s, when I was about 10 years old, so I was sewing before I was 10. In the mid-60s, my dad bought my mom a Sears Kenmore cabinet sewing machine, and that's the sewing machine that I have. Well, I haven't used it for about 10 years. Last time I used it, I was quilting. And I went down into the basement, which is where it is, with a bunch of these little thingies here, these hidden paper clips, with the intention of sewing them around the edges. Well, as soon as I stuck my paper underneath there and started sewing, the bobbin seized up. No, the bobbin did not seize up. There's something wrong with the tension. It's not set right. I don't know how it got screwed up in between the last time I used it and now, but it did. And the stitches aren't set right. So I got to fool around with it. I was hunting for the manual. I think I know how to, I'm pretty sure I know how to adjust the tension, but I don't know exactly what it should be set at. And I don't want to go fooling around with it and really getting it messed up. So I was looking for the owner's manual. Well, I don't know what happened to the owner's manual. It used to be in the little thing with the all the little attachments that makes you have different stitches. Well, it's not in there. So I'm going to have to look it up online. Hopefully it's online someplace. Okay, so what we're going to do next is, if you wanted to decorate, this is when you would do that. Or at least the main portion of the decorating. And you would, if you wanted to do any stamping, you would need to do that now, because if you put your paper clips in there and stamp, then you're not going to get a good stamp. Also, if you were going to use any stickers or rub-ons, you would want to do that now also, because it would be difficult with the paper clip in there to get those put down properly. And you don't want a paper clip in, or you don't want to decorate in here. You would want to decorate this part here and this part here, because this part is going to be inside there. Okay. So the other thing I should have told you too is to keep you from getting confused when this is all folded up with the paper clips on there, you might want to take a pencil and mark short, short, short. Well, that's not short there, short there. Short, and then long, 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 long. So, I mean, it's easy enough to figure out because you just do the short end of the paper clip goes on that side, and the long end goes on that side. But if you're like me and you get confused or you start putting it together, you might end up putting them together wrong. And that might be a bad thing. So just an FYI, you might want to mark them like that. These here are already marked because I got these. This was a Etsy kit, and I got them from a gal called the Bohemian Crafter. She has an Etsy page, and she also has a YouTube, and she shows you how to put these together on her YouTube. And if I remember, I will link both her Etsy page and her YouTube down below in the description box. And she's got several kits. You can buy them either individually, or she's got a package where you get all of them, and it's like buying them for half price. So I'm not going to decorate these. So I'm not going to worry about decorating. So what I do next is after you've decorated, and since I'm not decorating, I'm going to add my paper clips. Now with my paper clips, what I want to do with them is, if I'm going to add any eyelets, which I am going to do, you want to be careful where you put the paper clips, because you need to save yourself room for putting an eyelet in there. So let's see here. Let's see if I want to put a paper clip in an eyelet on this one. And yeah, I think I would like to. And I want to put it right here because I don't want to cover up, I don't want to interfere with this here beautiful rose. So I'm going to want to move my paper clip more towards this edge. But I want to be careful that I leave myself enough room to where I've got enough glue on here and enough paper to where when I glue it down, it's going to actually stay rather than pop it up. So, and I think that's going to be enough right there. And then that way I've got room to put my eyelet in over here without interference with the paper clip. So there, we're going to do that one. And then I'm going to, do I have the short side on the right place? Yes, I do. No, I don't. See, I even had it marked and I don't have it in the right place. It doesn't really matter the way I showed you how to do it with the small paper clips, but it does matter if you use the 2-inch paper clips. So just keep that in mind. Okay. See, I'm doing it again. It's the way I put paper clips on is the thing. I always put the long side in the front. That's how I always do them. So Let's see here. That one fits a little tight. I don't want to use it. Well, come on. Can't seem to get it picked up. There we go. That one's better. All right, now let's see if I want to put a thing here. Yeah, I think I do. I think I want to put it on the right side. I'm going to move this over a little bit. Then what about this one? Yeah, I think I want to put it on the left side, so I'm going to move this one over a little bit to the right-hand place. There we go. And this one, just check and make sure I got it in the right place. Yes, I do. Okay. So now what I do is I lay them down like this on my table, on my workplace, to where, oh, and here's another thing I do. I write, what do I write? I write glue under bottom. What do I put? Glue under bottom flap first, or something like that. But I'll show you why I put that on there, because I made some without the proper orientation. Okay. Now, I'm going to take my glue, and I'm using Barely Arts glue, which I like it almost as good as, well, in some ways I think it's better than, what's that other glue? Art glitter glue. So when you put your glue down, you want to make sure you get it around the edges really good. You want to make sure you have the edges glued. And I usually, when I've done these in the past, and even with this batch here that I'm doing now, I'll glue 3 at a time. Sort of like assembly fashion. I get the glue on there. Then I want to fold that up. Make sure the sides line up good. Make sure it sticks down good. Turn it over. Make sure all this is good. Same thing here. Make sure everything's lined up real good. And then my next step is, after this is all glued down and lined up right, I put them sideways like this, and then I put the glue on this little tab part, making sure to really get the sides good. That's where we want them to, you know, we want to make sure we've got a good stick there on the sides. Let me fold that. Am I doing this right? Yes, I'm doing it right. I don't know if it really matters one way or the other with just regular cardstock, but with these ones that I got off of her website, off her Etsy shop, the Bohemian Crafter, it does make a difference. So but with the ones that you, oops, look what I did.